Hello! Whoa! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Gotta keep my hand off the trigger there. Got a little bit trigger happy. But yeah, welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Hello, Wolfie. Hello, Burning Skeleton. And hopefully no hellos to any creepers or anything like that. It is episode 376 of Far Lands or Bust. That way is west. I suppose we shall follow Wolfie's lead and hop into a boat and head westward. Like I said, episode 376. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, 2014. And we're still raising money for Child's Play charity over at farlandsorbust.com. $6,385 having been raised this season thus far. Season 5 of Far Lands or Bust. I should write this stuff down so I'm not so I don't question it halfway through it coming out of my mouth. I'm like, it's season 5, right? Yeah, season 5 of Far Lands or Bust. $6,385 having been raised so far. I do appreciate it. And with your donation at farlandsorbust.com, which goes directly to Child's Play charity, you can leave a question in the comments. So do such things as these, give me things to talk about, help out kids in hospitals around the world. It's a win-win-win situation, I say. I doth declare such things, and we will continue. Watch out, Wolfie! Oh, you were heading straight for that cacti. You noodle. Good lord. He was going right for it before he teleported. But yeah, anyway, let's continue walking and talking. I have some interesting space news to talk about. Ooh, but not before I knock over this giant hanging sand cliff of precariously perchedness, I suppose is what we're going to call it. All right, let's have some fun. Because Far Lands or Bust isn't normally fun. Whoop, whoop. Whoa, that caused a little bit of lag. Interesting, unless that was Wolfie pushing on me, but very, very cool. A cascade of sanditude, granules, getting sand stuck in places where the sun don't shine. Literally, it's underneath a thing the sun isn't shining. Whoa, I'll turn around. Wait, which way? There we go. All right, this way is west. Yeah, I wanted to talk about some space news. Voyager 1, the spacecraft launched in 1977, I do believe. Currently the furthest man-made object out there in the cosmos. There's recent news that they have additional evidence that Voyager 1 is indeed in interstellar space. Over the past, say, 10 or so years, we've been getting reports saying, oh, Voyager 1 is in interstellar space. Oh, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. So there have been multiple occasions on which we doth declare and celebrate that Voyager 1 is outside of the sphere of influence of our sun. And when you say interstellar space, that basically means that Voyager 1 would be outside of the heliosphere. Basically, the solar wind from our sun is pushing outward like a bubble. It's not exactly, much like our atmosphere of Earth, there isn't like a defined line. There isn't a specific film, a crystalline sphere. There isn't like yes, we are out of the atmosphere, we are into the atmosphere. It's not like a border on a land or anything like that. But it gradually dissipates. Same thing with the heliosphere, where the solar wind butts up against the interstellar wind, because there is an interstellar wind. Just that is not the influence of our own sun, and there's kind of a border there, and so that's kind of the official border of where you can say an object or a spacecraft is outside the influence of our solar system. But right now we have additional evidence. There has been evidence recently, and now there's even a secondary method of saying, yeah, this might be the case, and that is Voyager 1 is experiencing a tsunami wave, quotes, of solar wind that causes a not an auditory, but something to happen on the spacecraft that is could only be caused by this tsunami wave. And it's basically, and the reason even in the past where we have seen, oh, Voyager 1 is out of the solar system, or out of the solar system in the interstellar wind, and then they say, oh, no, it's not, is because the boundary changes. The solar wind, much like waves on the ocean, if you're ever on a shoreline, a wave will lap up on the ocean and the water will come up further and then it will recede. Same thing, not the same as tides. I don't want to say tides because that's a completely different phenomenon. But say a wave, whenever there's increased solar activity, everything from simple trends in the solar activity to an actual bursts, an actual CME, coronal mass ejection and whatnot, that actually causes that boundary to expand and contract against the interstellar wind. And so that's why, theoretically, Voyager could be outside in the interstellar wind, and then say there's some increased solar activity, and then suddenly Voyager is within the solar wind. So it can go back and forth, and they've recently released that they have experienced further evidence that it has actually, 1 year after a significant solar event, that wind, that tsunami wave of the heliosphere has finally hit Voyager, which is kind of interesting stuff, and it's just kind of a cool little thing that we got going on there. Obviously, Voyager 1 also carries the golden record put upon there by Carl Sagan to serve as kind of a reminder as to where this spacecraft came from, and in the nearly impossible chance that any other sort of intelligent life would pick up Voyager 1, they would be able to, with the instructions, hopefully play the records. There's a map that would show the direction of what star or where this came from, and also, it carries messages from Earth in many different languages, even whale song language, because whales have a language. Who knows if whatever alien life would pick this up might be able to better understand a whale language versus a human language, and music, images, digital images implanted on the disc of different places, brain scan of Anne Druyan's, Carl Sagan's wife, brain, which is interesting. So, in case the intelligent life is somehow telepathic, or that's how they communicate, then there's a brain scan, brain activity waves. But yeah, cool stuff to hear that Voyager 1 is going outward, and it's currently 19.2 billion kilometers from the sun. That is about 35 hours, 22 minutes light time from the sun. For comparison, the planet Earth is 8 minutes light time from the sun. So the way we look at the sun and the light coming from the sun is actually 8 minutes old. It left the sun 8 minutes ago, as opposed to on Voyager, it is about a day and a half old, 35 and a half hours light time from the sun. So very, 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 very far away, but still very, very close, especially since we only measure the distance to nearby stars in light years. It's only a light day and a half away. So, mind-boggling things to think about. And even if you, I had Pale Blue Dot, the book by Carl Sagan, read to me via the audiobook. And one of the things he mentions and talks about in there is how, let's just imagine, worst case scenario, we as humans never leave planet Earth. We never become an interstellar or even an interplanetary species. 3 billion years, this is very strange music to be playing right now. 3-4 billion years from now, when the sun does run out of its energy and it goes to a red giant and vaporizes planet Earth, and then finally dies and sheds its outer layers to create a planetary nebula and becomes a white dwarf itself. planet Earth is completely gone, the Voyager spacecraft will be the only evidence that we ever existed. They will be out there forever. The golden records have a shelf life of about 5 billion or 10 billion years. Whoops, excuse me, tree. I request some space to make an elevated hidey hole. So the golden records, their playability might not last that long, but unimpeded, what am I looking for here? The Voyager spacecraft will just continue flying until basically the end of the universe. And they will be the only evidence that we ever existed. Of course, New Horizons, I'm not sure where New Horizons is going to end up. It, as I mentioned in the last episode, is on its way to Pluto and will fly off out. I'm not sure if it also will be planning on leaving the solar system or not. Who knows? But food for thought. Food for thought. Let's go to sleep and continue talking in the morning. And awakeness. I don't know why. And we'll continue talking in the morning. Oh, that's why I ran out of dirt. This was an exceptionally tall, elevated hidey hole. Anyway, let's continue on. Yeah, I say, we'll continue talking in the morning, as if there's an option to not continue talking. I'm just going to do the rest of the episode in complete silence. No, that wouldn't work. Complete silence is not an option here for Far Lands or Bust. I do, indeed, have a particular topic to talk about. Hello. Okay. Reeds? I don't know if I've ever seen the reeds automatically break. I'm assuming it's because snow took its precedent. But I would like to talk a bit about yet another, I don't know if I talked about the first one, but yet another possible but probable Minecraft theme, although not official Mojang endorsed or Minecraft related convention that has... I don't know if you can hear that, but there's apparently like a dogfight happening outside my door. It's dogs barking at each other. I'm like, is that Wolfie? No, that's. I don't know if you can hear that. Not as loud as the garage door, but regardless, I'm talking, of course, about Mine-O-Rama. Mine-O-Rama was supposed to be a convention held in New York, July 12th through the something, this weekend. It was heavily promoted, supposedly attached to some non-profit science education charity thing. Had a bunch of YouTubers attached to it as special guests on their website. And you know, it was supposed to be just a weekend convention for Minecraft themes. Across the top of their website, they had, this is not officially endorsed by Mojang or Minecraft or anything like that. It just happens to have that theme. Tickets were on sale. They were like $150 each, plus an additional fee if you wanted to play a LAN party. And then recently they were going to charge $25 to watch the live stream of the event. And a lot of people apparently bought tickets. And like I said, there were certain YouTubers, fairly large YouTubers even, a list of YouTubers, Minecraft YouTubers attached to it as guests. Turns out that this Monday, the week of the convention, it was canceled, or postponed is the word they're using. Postponed until further notice. Indefinitely. They didn't even use the word indefinitely, just postponed until further notice. Obviously no refunds on any of the tickets purchased. A lot of people, if they're traveling to there or have hotels or even flights, God forbid, can't, a week, 5 days before your departure, what are you going to do about that? So all the compasses point to scammy, scamorama. And that's a very unfortunate thing to have seen because if you listened to, I was not part of this one, but if you listened to an earlier broadcast of the Mindcrack podcast, they discussed it, and we were actually, Mindcrack, I'll say Good, and then by extension us, were approached by Minorama to be guests at Minorama, featured YouTubers, and they had contracts. They were offering to pay our way. They were going to pay us each, or give us like an allowance each, $1,000 for airfare, for hotels, which honestly, New York City, downtown New York, that might not have covered all of our expenses, but that's beside the point. Like I said, there was a contract where we would have had to make a video, specifically a vlog video saying we are going to be at Minorama, blah, 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 to promote it, to push the ticket sales, obviously, is what that was for, kind of advertising on that part. And it's very strange things, and thank goodness for Good and his due diligence. Obviously, those of us, and I was one, who said, what, put me on the list of I'm willing to hear more about this, but let's learn more about this before actually signing any documents. Good has a lawyer, obviously out of his own pocket, and hopefully eventually, towards out of the Mindcrack fund pocket is where that's supposed to be coming from. But a lawyer who looks over these contracts and whatnot, and there was a lot of fishy stuff in there. One of the fishiest things in the original draft of the contract was that this Minorama company would take out insurance on each of us YouTubers, as if if we were to be harmed or injured or somehow be a liability, or I don't know. That sounds like, you signed a document that says somebody's going to take out insurance on your own health and or life. It sounds like the beginning of a CSI episode. It sounds like you're gonna get there and then you're gonna get whacked. You're gonna get whacked, and then they're gonna collect on the insurance on your name, on your deceased body that is now tied to a brick and on the bottom of the Hudson River. So that was really fishy, and we had them remove that, and there was a few backs and forths on this contract, and in the end, even after all that work and effort that we and like I said, for the most part, Good and his legal team put towards it, we're like, this seems 100% fishy, and we're just going to say nope. If you guys want to prove yourselves and put on this convention, then maybe the next one. But this one we're going to opt out of. We, first of all, can't risk ourselves to do this. But also, our main concern was we don't want to put out these videos saying we're going to be there. We don't want to encourage our fans to purchase tickets for the purpose of meeting us and then have it. Oh, God. Oh, we survived. Okay. That was... Well, I'm glad Wolfie didn't take any damage doing that, but I did. Wow, that was some terrible watching where I was walking situation right there. But yeah, our primary concern was for our fans. We don't want them to get scammed. They certainly have more to lose than we would have in that regard. And it turns out that there was indeed a lot to lose, and stuff was lost. And that's really unfortunate. And it's really sucky. There's other videos and other people talking about how this non-for-profit that was attached to the convention was actually owned by the same guy who is running the for-profit convention. So that's a very easy way to hide funds. You could basically invoice and pay yourself between the non-profit and the profit. And kind of that's easy ways to fudge the books, to mess with the taxes and whatnot, and simply the high price of the tickets, the not being attached or officially endorsed by Mojang, not being run by anybody. This person has no affiliations, basically came out of nowhere, has no affiliations or past either interests or knowledge, nobody knows them in the community. All the red flags flew high that day, and we avoided that, and now we are obviously very thankful that we did. I do kind of wish maybe we had waved the red flags a little bit higher so other people's would have seen, but that that wasn't our responsibility, and even even looking towards the YouTubers who were on the guest list, who probably either didn't read the contract thoroughly or didn't have a lawyer look at the contract, and maybe they just signed it willy-nilly and got roped into it. Surely, obviously the real crook here is the people putting on this convention, air quotes, very large, scammy air quotes, and taking all the money. Obviously, they scam the fans, the people who bought the tickets and aren't going to get a refund, and they indeed also scam the YouTubers who got attached to it. They're victims as well. But you do kind of hold, I don't want to like bash or blame any of the YouTubers, but you would have hoped that you could hold them to a higher standard, to have maybe taken those additional steps that the fans might not have, to maybe have taken the additional steps to look into this, to avoid this. Because sure, okay, let's say they were given the same offer of $1,000 to cover their expenses. Who knows, maybe a lot of the bigger YouTubers got different offers. You would hope that they didn't do it, that they didn't attach themselves for that money. $1,000, you look at, I think the website's down, or it's been replaced by like a stay tuned for more news thing. But some of those people on the list, some of those YouTubers, $1,000, based just extrapolating from my own statistics, that they could make that with their ad revenue in a day. In a day, they can make that. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they're not attaching themselves to this for the money. But believe me, that's not me. I'd be very, on the worst of days, I struggle to do 1/10 that. But you kind of hope they're not in it for the money, but you do wish that maybe maybe they didn't have anything to lose because they were supposedly going to be reimbursed for their expenses, but think about the fans and all that they have to lose for this being a failure, and indeed, that's really an unfortunate thing. It makes you kind of think twice about priorities in that regard. I don't know, but that's really unfortunate, and I will wrap this up and then start answering some actually appropriate questions kind of related to this from donors in the morning. And a scamaraminus. Indeed. You're doing all right for health there, Wolfie. Although this cliff might prove otherwise. That's kind of I like this. It's got holes. It's a holy mountain. I don't know if that's the holy music. It's kind of chant. Remember chant? Oh God, the 90s. Anyway, so yeah, that's really unfortunate, and I feel for everybody involved, and I'm sure that they covered their butts, but I hope that the people responsible get held responsible, either legally and definitely financially, and perhaps even criminally. But really, for convention goers, I talked, it was kind of bad because, not bad, but just poor timing on my part, because I was talking about conventions. I answered a question about conventions in the last episode. I recorded that before all this news came out. So now I can finally connect the dots here. But as far as conventions are concerned, as a YouTuber, definitely we should take those additional steps that we can't expect our fans to take to make sure things are on the up and up and everything works out as planned, and look at it more than just an opportunity to have a free ticket to New York or wherever, and actually look at it as something you're doing for your fans and watch out for their sake. But as a fan, as somebody who maybe wants to go to these conventions or wants to meet your YouTubers, just stick to the legitimate ones. As far as Minecraft is concerned, Minecon is the only, as far as I'm aware, legitimate convention Minecraft related. It is put on by Mojang, and even then, you might want to miss Minecon. You might be disappointed by that as well. It's a convention and it happens, but it does lack still in the organizational department. It seems like sometimes it might be run by the equivalent of a high school prom planning committee. Sometimes. I'm gonna hold my tongue, but yeah, that Minecon. I mentioned game VidCon. And, it already happened once. It was a success. It's probably going to happen again next year. So maybe you should keep tabs on Game VidCon, which is specifically a convention for gameplay YouTube content video makers, live streamers. They had Total Biscuit and Good was there, and other Captain Sparkers, I believe, made an appearance as well. So that's something you can look forward to. Obviously, the big ones like your PAXs, that's pretty much the only one. There's like E3 and other ones like that, but PAX ones are expanding throughout. Stick with those. These fly-by-night ones that just appear out of nowhere. Okay, yeah. Oh, I was ticked off because I wasn't able to get tickets to Minecon, so I'm gonna go to this secondary kind of Minecraft-themed one. No, don't. It's not that important. It's not that important at all to put your money and your time on the line for something that you can't trust 100%. No matter what kind of fancy pants website they have or charitable thing they seem to be attached to, anybody can make a website look fancy pants. That's heck, look at the websites that Minecon had. Those are second year graphic design student websites right there. So yeah, just be careful and really don't. To meet your favorite YouTuber, it's not worth it. Trust us, we're not that interesting to meet. I'm speaking only for myself. Anyway, let's answer a question. Let's switch the mood a little bit. From a donor named Shadow Addy, asks 2 questions here. Since you have ample convention experience, 3, I've been to 3 conventions, and are slightly introverted, what is your advice to get the most out of a convention as an introverted person? Shadow Addy's kind of prefaced that by saying they went to a convention and were slightly introverted and blah, 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 blah. What's your advice to get the most out of a convention? Similar to the advice I gave about getting the most out of college. Just because it seems like conventions, in my little experience, are very much kind of that college dorm environment, the party, all-night experience. Just because that is the status quo, that is the standard thing that most people are doing, does not mean that that is what you have to do. When I went to PAX in Seattle last year, I didn't stay up too late. I got up and actually was at the convention center all the days at like 10 a.m. when they opened, when most people were up all night and got 1 hour of sleep and wandered in at 2 p.m. I was getting the most out of the convention itself, or at least trying to. Just because there is a standard party atmosphere surrounding the conventions, I would say, do what you want to do, even if that's not what everybody else wants to do, if that makes sense. Choking. Obviously, wait, hold on. My throat just dried out. It's the Sahara Desert. Stay hydrated. That's a tip for convention goers. There's a whole bunch. There's videos. There's even on the websites for PAX and elsewhere. There's always tips for getting the most out of your convention, and they always include wear deodorant, take a shower every day, get at least 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, get at least 3 hours of sleep? I need at least 8. What's wrong with you? Make sure you have multiple methods of getting in contact with your friends or your group in case you get separated, because that's going to happen. Have a plan for when and where you're going to eat. There's. I'm not the one to give that sort of advice, but as an introvert, from the introverted point of view, you don't have to do the same thing everybody else is doing in regards to the parties and the big groups and the claustrophobia and stuff like that. And, take time. Just because conventions are a place to meet up together with other people doesn't mean you constantly have to be around other people. PAX was pretty good at having kind of out of the way chill out areas where you can just grab a corner of a room or a beanbag or a chair, and they had water available and stuff, and you can kind of just hide for a while. I'm only speaking of PAX because that was the convention I went to as an attendee. I don't know if my Minecon experiences can be relatable as an attendee, so this is what I'm going with. Hang out, go back to your hotel or whatever, and just chill out on the bed, watch some TV. As an introvert, you need some alone time. Check out the city a little bit if you want to. Do stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's my advice. I hope that helps. Shadow Addy goes on to ask an astronomy-related question. In regards to astronomy, you've regaled. Ooh, fancy pants words. You've regaled multiple tales of observing celestial objects and events. What is your favorite celestial object or phenomenon that you have witnessed or you would like to observe? Well, obviously, I'm going to go with the one that will never be seen again for the rest of my and everybody alive life. That would be the transit of Venus that I saw. When the heck was that? Was that 2012? Yeah, what? Or 2011? Anyway, it was recently, I was in Arizona. I saw that from atop Kitt Peak. That's always very awesome. But obviously I'm never going to see that again. So, an eclipse, I have never seen a solar eclipse I know are even more dramatic and amazing. A total solar eclipse. There's one in 2017 going across the continental U.S., centered over Kansas, I believe. There's one at the end of this year. It's an annular, and it's going to be a partial, specifically from central United States. It's going to favor the West Coast more. But the little bit I saw of the last one, which was 2013, was it? God, I don't remember when these all happened. There was another one where there was just a partial eclipse just at sunset. I just happened to see the very, very beginning of it. You could just barely see a little cookie bite out of the sun, and even that was incredibly dramatic. Like, go your entire life, the sun is a complete sphere, and then suddenly there's this other object starting to block it. That's craziness. So I absolutely 100% would like to see a total solar eclipse. And I am a little afraid that the first one I do see, I'm going to turn into an eclipse chaser. These are people who travel the globe, spend thousands of dollars traveling the globe, going to Australia, going to Antarctica, going to random islands in the middle of the Pacific and Africa and Egypt and stuff to see every opportunity of a solar eclipse that they can, because it just seems incredibly dramatic to be able to see that. Obviously, I like a good meteor shower, a good bolide meteor. My main story go-to is the fireball I saw when observing that lit up the sky and cast shadows. That stuff is... You can't plan for that, but that's always very interesting. What was really interesting is also if you're able to, if you have a telescope nice enough to see are they called transits, or are they called... no, they're not called transits. When a moon of Jupiter passes in front of Jupiter and casts a shadow, anything that really emphasizes the three-dimensional nature of the solar system and the cosmos. Is it a transit? What is that called? When a moon... Yeah, is it? No, that... A progression, Yeah, there's a special word for everything. It might be a transit, but there are times when certain moons of Jupiter will pass in front, and then you can see the shadow cast which would be very interesting. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a shadow. I've seen a planet pass behind Jupiter, and then the shadow of Jupiter kind of hides the planet before it actually reaches the edge of Jupiter, which is kind of cool. But that is not where I should put the bed. There we go. So yeah, any of that stuff is really cool. Seeing, obviously, it could happen any day, but it'd be pretty cool to see Betelgeuse, the star, is a red giant that is a ticking time a ticking time ticking time bomb that at any time could go supernova and would possibly outshine a full moon. That could happen tomorrow or 100,000 years from now. It's one of those things that we're not exactly sure, but that would be kind of cool to see, obviously. But I could go on and on. But definitely top of the list would be a total solar eclipse. Indeed. Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen a total solar eclipse. I know you guys are all around the world, and perhaps the odds were ever in your favor to seeing that sort of thing in the past. But yeah. This has been Far Lands or Bust. Keep donating to Child's Play Charity at farlandsorbust.com. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Whoop, whoop. Whoa.